I've got a theory. What if I told you that just one chord tells the story of Zelda Breath of the Wild? That every core theme in Breath of the Wild uses that chord to point to a centralized theme? And what if the key to understanding it all hinged on a side character? In this video, I'm going to lay out the music of Breath of the Wild in a way you have never heard before. I'm Kevin, and welcome to Zelda Music Theory. I have tracked this one chord all the way back to Ocarina of Time to a reference that absolutely blew my mind. And it all starts with the Gerudo. See, traditionally listeners associate this sound with the Middle East or desert. Without getting too technical, this chord comes from the Phrygian mode. It's basically minor but with a lowered 2. It's called the flat 2 chord. This chord is all over Tears of the Kingdom. Now to make it sound even more Middle Eastern, sometimes they'll add a raised third, so it's a major third with a lowered 2. Wow, remember the Molduga theme? Or Riju's theme? And that's where most people stop. Oh, the flat 2 chord, it's kind of used for the Gerudo, kind of this Middle Eastern desert sound, but it is so much more than that. What if I told you that this chord is in every single champion theme? Wow. What about Urbosa? That didn't take long. Very Middle Eastern, Gerudo sounding, but also beautiful. Very fitting for Urbosa. But why is the flat 2 chord in Mipha's theme? Okay, but surely it's not in Daruk's theme, the big, goofy teddy bear made of rock? So why in the world is the flat 2 chord in every single champion theme in Breath of the Wild? I find that rather odd, so I did some digging. Here's where it starts to get crazy. Listen to Inside Va Meadow. You probably already know where I'm headed with this. There it is again. Did you ever hear Urbosa's theme in there? I don't know that I've heard that until just now. This is why I love filming, I find so many new things. Inside Va Ruta. Wow. Again, the flat 2 chord. Are you kidding me? Attack on Va Meadow. Attack on Va Naburis. Even the Blight Ganon theme. It's in all 4 champion themes, it's in all 4 divine beasts. What is going on here? Is this some insane coincidence? Am I reaching for something that's not there? Bear with me here. This video is less of a fan conspiracy video and more of how I came to understand better the music of Breath of the Wild. Let me explain. The flat 2 chord has this naturally darker, more somber tone. 8-bit music theory calls it threatening, which can certainly be true. If you grew up playing Pokemon, remember the final battle against Gary? In fact, it's used in a lot of fight or battle themes. But it can also be this more serious tone, like for the Great Deku Tree. Wow. How cool is that? It's all over the Metroid soundtrack, which is known for its darker atmosphere. Flat 2 chord, beautiful. Even the forest temple that I used in my last video. Secret of the Forest. Amazing. Let me get nerdy for a minute. When you lower the second scale degree, it creates a half step and a tritone. Both of those have a really strong pull back to the stable notes. That's what makes it sound dark. Let's remember, Breath of the Wild is not a happy game. All 4 champions are dead. Every time you hear a champion theme, you're reminded of that fact. And every time you approach the area where the champion was slain, you're reminded. We literally get Morse code signs inside of the music for all 4 divine beasts. Not only that, one part of it is an SOS, the other part is an SAD, search and destroy. Sometimes the search and destroy overpowers the SOS, other times they just keep playing over each other on repeat. What are Zelda composers trying to tell us here? The reality is, we lost. Ganon literally won the war. This was a massacre. Even the King of Hyrule is dead. Have you guys stopped to consider how dark this game is? By the way, King Hyrule theme, flat 2. This is a post-apocalyptic open-world game filled with emptiness and silence, beauty and pain. Breath of the Wild main theme, flat 2. Well, I was suddenly stopped in my tracks by one particular theme, Kass's theme. Listen. There it is, flat 2 chord. This puzzled me for a while. Like, what does Kass have to do with loss and defeat? Well, one half of the answer lies in analyzing his theme, while the other half lies in analyzing his profession. Let's start with the latter. Kass is a bard. His role in the game is to retell the history of Hyrule and keep the story passing down generations through song. He's literally the only musician in the game. Wait, what about Hestu? He's got the maracas? Drummers are musicians. Okay, so Kass retells the story of Hyrule. Cool. But isn't the last 100-year period pretty depressing? Yeah, and that leads us to analyzing his theme. Has anyone noticed any similarities? Does it remind you of, I don't know, Zelda 1? It's like Kass's theme deliberately mimics the Zelda 1 overworld chords. Well, don't miss this, because this unlocks the whole rest of the story of Breath of the Wild's music. See, the Zelda 1 theme, which came together overnight as a 5-employee Nintendo team in 1986, couldn't get the copyright to Ravel's Bolero. So Koji Kondo wrote this. By the way, hear the rhythmic pattern from Bolero? Could you imagine if this were the background music to Zelda 1? And true Zelda fans can't help but catch the reference to Bolero of Fire and the same drum pattern. Wow, there are hidden references everywhere in Zelda. It's insane. Okay, back to the theme. The first part is setting out on an adventure. Triumphant, little to no resistance, and then a sudden letdown. You guessed it, the flat 2 chord. It feels defeating, only to turn around with a super bright sounding 2 chord to loop back into the start of the major again. This short section of music evokes a sense of opposition, defeat even, and then rising up and overcoming the evil to emerge victorious. How fitting. This is the core concept of this video, and the story of Breath of the Wild. In a single word, the flat 2 chord symbolizes defeat. This is why it appears everywhere in Zelda Breath of the Wild. But then it literally quotes from the Zelda 1 over theme. Listen. But when it gets to the flat 2 part, it's reharmonized to a 2-5-1 in minor. It's almost like they don't want it to be as obvious that it's literally the same chord progression as Zelda 1. When you view the core themes with this lens, the champions, the divine beasts, the main theme, King Hyrule's theme, it makes a little bit more sense. This is a dark game. Okay, should I ruin this next part for you? You can't unhear it. Let's do it. But has anyone heard that same chord progression elsewhere? The Zelda chord. Okay, listen for that chord progression. And Vomito. Beautiful. And Rito Village. Daruk's theme. Tears of the Kingdom main theme. And actually that one makes a lot of sense because it's kind of quoting from Breath of the Wild. There you go. This chord progression is yet another tool used in the music of Breath of the Wild to tie everything in together to a cohesive message. But that is only half the story. Think back to that flat 2 in the Zelda overworld theme. Who is the opposition? And the enemy in basically every Zelda game? Ganon. Who overthrows Hyrule and defeats the champions Link and King Hyrule? Ganon. Has anyone ever listened to any of Ganon's themes? In Ocarina of Time, the final Ganon fight, flat 2 is all over that theme. You hear the flat 2? It's all over. Okay, unfortunately, if you have not yet beaten Tears of the Kingdom and you don't want anything major spoiled, this is where you sign off. For everyone else, this is the best part of the video. In Tears of the Kingdom, do you remember the Demon King's army? Anyone recognize that? Well, I recognize that part of, first of all, parallel fourths, but second of all, 1, minor 3, 2 chord, flat 2 chord, back to 1. And it took me forever to find. Anyone remember Phantom Ganon from Wind Waker? Here's the thing. It's not originally from that. Remember this? Same key. Unbelievable. This is too much. And we're just getting started. I can't wait to show you guys. Listen to this one. Did you ever notice what plays when you defeat a Phantom Ganon? Does anyone know where that's from? When Ganon appears in A Link to the Past, it's the same theme as when you defeat a Phantom Ganon in Tears of the Kingdom. Amazing. But there's another way they typically use the flat 2 in Ganon's fight themes. Listen to this.
End this hero's life, my dark servant. Cut him down.
So instead of playing all 4 chords, they just play these 3. Listen to Blades of Yiga from Age of Calamity.
The power I have granted, you witness a king's revival. And the birth of his new world.
Haven't we heard that somewhere? Listen to the Ocarina of Time battle music against Ganondorf. It's in the same key. Remember that. It's even at the end of Aster's theme in Age of Calamity. Well, I thought that was it. And then I heard this. Can you believe it? Ocarina of Time plays a slow version of the Ganondorf battle theme every time you defeat one of the temples. That, my friends, is a masterclass in writing music that holds meaning across the series. Zelda music never ceases to amaze me. Again, go search for this reference. It's nowhere to be found on the internet 27 years after this classic game was made. We're still finding musical gems right in plain sight. But that's not even all. I almost cried when I connected it to this part. And before I share it, I'm just a dude who grew up playing Zelda. I have a music degree. I film in my garage. This is a side gig passion project for me. Share it, like it, subscribe, support me on Patreon. Let's reveal the final part. Do you remember that Koji Kondo reference we hear all over Zelda? I think originally it was in Star Fox. Do Did you guys know it was in Skyward Sword?
Duty of piloting the divine beasts. With the princess...
Now my moment has finally come. Brace yourself, Ganon, for the sting of my revenge!
Zelda, I trust you with the task only a daughter.
Well, I remember it from Ocarina of Time. Remember this? What an awesome moment. So it goes like this. Those last three chords could be a reference to evil being defeated once and for all. Listen. And it's not even the only time that chord progression is played. Listen to this. In the same key, by the way. Again, this theme plays when you get the medallion after defeating the boss. And just a thought, the game ends with Navi flying up in the Temple of Time, and this theme plays. But how does the game begin? The game ends with Navi flying away from Link, and it plays this. But the game begins with Navi flying to Link, and it plays this. Again, I don't know if this was intentional or not, but I find that fascinating. Which brings us back full circle. Most still associate the flat 2 chord with the Gerudo Middle Eastern desert. Who's really evil and represents darkness and happens to be the chosen one of the Gerudo, the only male leader? Ganondorf. But hey, it's just a theory. A Zelda music theory. Hope you all enjoyed. Thank you to my patrons. And as always, Zelda Music Theory, out.